Hello everybody, Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back again today for a new video. As you can notice, my attire is a little bit different from what I would normally wear on a video. There's a couple reasons for that. First of all is I'm starting a brand new series on this channel regarding the James Bond franchise, and specifically the Daniel Craig films. So with a James Bond video, I figured I had to class it up a little bit. And then second of all is the current situation in the world, which of course is the coronavirus pandemic. And being that a lot of us are not going to work like normal, I miss dressing up. I literally miss dressing up. I don't wear a suit to work, but I do wear a shirt and tie almost every day to work. And I really miss putting it on. So I figured, why not? Let's put it on for a James Bond video. So, what I'm going to be doing is reviewing all of the Daniel Craig James Bond films, the first 4, from Casino Royale to Spectre. And I'm doing that because the final James Bond Daniel Craig film is airing or premiering this November. It was originally scheduled to be released in April, and then of course with the coronavirus it got pushed back till the fall. And I'm really excited to check it out. I love Daniel Craig. I've been a huge fan of Daniel Craig since he did David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's one of my favorite films of all time. And I just recently checked out his entries into the James Bond franchise, and I love most of them. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be filming my thoughts on each film, and periodically throughout the spring and the summer, I'm going to be uploading these videos, and that will lead us all the way up to No Time to Die, which releases in November 2020. Also, I ordered the Bond 50 box set, Blu-ray box set online, and that should be coming my way in about a week. So I might do a quick unboxing of that when I get that set to kind of add into this James Bond series. So without further ado, let's start talking about the first one, which is Casino Royale. I am a massive fan of this film. I just watched it for the first time this year in 2020 and fell in love with it, and it made me fall in love with the James Bond series. I was never really a huge fan of it growing up, but I always obviously knew it existed and wanted to check it out. And once I checked out this one, I fell in love. And of course, I have very limited James Bond knowledge and experience with the series, so this one is currently my favorite. But I've heard a lot of people who love the rest of the series think that this one is their favorite as well. So I want to go ahead and go over, I have some little notes that I've written out here on what I want to talk about with the film. So I'm going to kind of get into that. So first of all, from the very opening sequence, it's absolutely brilliant. They did a play on the traditional James Bond opening sequence. So the traditional opening sequence is you have James Bond, he shoots his gun and into this, what is it called? It's like a spinning thing. Gun barrel sequence, yeah. And then they go into the James Bond theme and everything. The blood drips down and everything, and it's really cool. This film kind of reinvented that sequence perfectly. So as he's, it opens up with a black and white scene with Daniel Craig and going through the beginning of his career. And at the very end of that scene, he shoots a guy, and that turns into the famous gun barrel sequence, which was awesome. The Bond song for this was performed by Chris Cornell. Rest in peace. He was one of my favorite, and he still is one of my favorite artists out there. So I loved his performance of that song. Fantastic Bond song. Then you go into the chase sequence, which was fantastic. One of the best chase sequences I've ever seen. All in all, the action in this film is fantastic. It's also a perfect 3-act movie to me. There are 3 distinct acts of this film. It's almost like 3 little films in one, and it's perfect. So you've got kind of the action part at the beginning of the film. Then you have the second act, which is all about the poker game, which is probably the best poker game I've ever seen portrayed in a movie. It's absolutely amazing, and there's so much stuff going on in the middle of it. Of course, there's the famous Bond villain, which is Le Chiffre, and he may be one of my favorite villains in any movie ever. Not surpassing somebody like the Joker, but still a fantastic villain. Probably the best Bond villain out of the ones that I've seen. Another part about Le Chiffre. Le Chiffre is a great villain because you can understand him and you can empathize with him. He's got some extenuating circumstances going on, as you know if you've seen the movie, and it makes him more relatable. And yes, he's the villain of the film, there's no mistaking it. You know, he tries to take out Bond, our hero, but you can understand why he's making the decisions he's making. So that's really, really great. Anytime a film can make an understandable and empathetic villain, it's fantastic. The torture scene towards the end of the second act as we move into that third act, fantastic. One of the best torture scenes. I can't believe that this movie was rated PG-13. It really, really stretches the boundary of that, which I love. You know, I hate movies that are watered down for a PG-13 audience. This movie was bold, it went for it, and it still maintained that rating anyway. A very, very violent movie. Not as violent as the second one, Quantum of Solace, but we're going to get to that in a little while. But still very, very violent for a PG-13 movie, which I really enjoyed. Great action sequences. The third act is all about this love story between Bond and our female protagonist. And that one was really great as well. That one really gives you the heart and the emotions behind the film, and is vitally important to Daniel Craig becoming James Bond. One of the things that I think this movie is really doing is showing you the beginning of Craig's character and him transforming into the James Bond that everybody knows. So a lot of this is about his emotional background, and especially in that third act, about what makes him him, which I absolutely loved. All in all, this movie, I think it's going to be my favorite Bond movie. Again, I haven't seen all of them. I look forward to checking out more when that box set comes in, but as of right now, it's my favorite in the Daniel Craig series, and we'll see what happens with No Time to Die in November. My grade. So my grade on the movie, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. This is definitely in my top 20 movies of all time. It's absolutely fantastic. Flawless film. And it's one of the reasons why I love movies, is films like this. So that's it. That's my thoughts on Casino Royale. Go ahead and leave me your thoughts on Casino Royale and the James Bond franchise in the comments. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. I hope you guys are all staying busy in this quarantine situation. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.